welcome to the SpeakEasy. Come on in, settle down. We're gonna take it easy here today. We all need a break. There's been a lot of stress, a lot of tension, a lot of horror. But now everyone is hunkered down. We've got a lot of time to spend. And hopefully you and I can spend some of it together. Because of my fragile health and the fact that I'm an old man, I've been hunkered down a little bit longer than most. And I've been thinking. I've been trying to decide what I want to do with all this time. And I've decided that I want to do a series of topics related to music and jazz. I have a list of things that I want to cover. And in this first video, I want to introduce you to the list. It's going to take a few minutes to go through, but if you're in a hurry, I'll understand if you need to go. But I'm not in a hurry, because I'm not going anywhere. Nor should you, really. So, in this series, I want to talk about some things of music in general. And then I want to focus on some issues with jazz. I am not going to demand that you learn anything. I'm not going to tell you that something is a must. I'm not going to push you in any direction. What I want to do is create a series of questions. Things for you to think about. Lord knows we need to get our minds off from the insanity that the globe is going through at the moment. And so these are a series of questions for you. Things to think about. Some of you may want to actually do some research on them, give you something to do. In the end, it gives me something to do. So let's go ahead and let me read the list to you. Okay. Under the general category, the first thing that I want to address is the origins of music. Where it comes from, how thoroughly embedded it is into our DNA. Why do we have music as humans? And are we the only ones that have music? I don't think so. This is probably going to require 2 or 3 shorties. I'm going to try to keep each one of these topics to 5 minutes apiece. 5 minutes. 5 minutes of your day to think about music, to think about art, to think about jazz, to think about your spirit. 5 minutes. Well, the origins of jazz and the origins of music in general have a lot in common. Because after all, the very first music was improvised, no? But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Maybe a little controversial, but so what? That's what thinking's all about. The next topic, which is related, music. Is it mechanics or is it magic? Is music about scales, patterns, the math of music? Or is it ultimately about magic? Is there magic in music? Okay, my next topic. How is music a gift? Is it a gift? We hear that time and time again. Someone is a gifted musician. She's an incredibly gifted violinist. Is music a gift? And is it only for the chosen few, or do we all, in our own ways, have the gift of music? I think given the many categories in which music touches us as people, that we all have that gift. It's just a matter of recognizing it, accepting it, cultivating it, enjoying it. Next on the docket, art. Well, what is art? What makes for a great artist? Now, art is not just painting. Art is an array of media, writing, sculpture. There are visual arts. There are the ephemeral arts, like music and dancing. At least music used to be an ephemeral art. Before Edison, the only music that existed was music that was played live. Should it be an ephemeral art still? Well, we can discuss all that stuff. And the question still remains, what makes for a great artist? What is it that they do to set the bar in their particular field of art that has them recognized not only by their peers, but by humanity as a great artist? What do they do that's so special? We'll speak easy about that. And under this grouping of art are a couple of other very important aesthetic questions. What is creativity? What is creativity? Who has it? Do we all have it? Like a gift for music? Is it something that can be cultivated? Is creativity important in art? We'll speak easy about that. I can't say I have any answers. And tied to creativity, inspirit us in our spirits. Inspiration. What is inspiration? Do you feel it? Of course you do. But where and how can you go looking for inspiration? Sure. Do you always find it where you seek it? It's kind of like love, isn't it? You can go seeking love, but you often find it in places where you least expect. Inspiration is a bit like that too. It comes from all kinds of unexpected places. So art creativity, inspiration. These have to do with a bigger picture of what should be connected to you in your spirit, in your heart, in your intellect, and in your music if you play it. And the last question that I want to ask under this general category: what do you get from music? What do you ask for from music? What do you want from music? If you're a musician, what does music do for you? How does it feed you? What do you want from playing music? What is the essential energy that you need from music? What do you want from it? That's pretty weighty stuff, and we'll talk about that down the line. No need to rush here. We've all got time now. We've got time to think and inspect and hopefully enrich and strengthen ourselves for times to come. Okay, so I have another section of things dealing with jazz. There are lots of sites out there pushing all kinds of determinant things about jazz, saying the hottest new licks, the 5 standard patterns that you must know, the essential jazz theory sites. YouTube is filled with a plethora of people that are pushing jazz theory and requiring you to learn certain scales, otherwise you don't qualify as a jazz musician. Well, give me a second to cue up my jazz stuff. First, we want to ask the question, what is jazz? What qualifies as jazz? What is jazz? That's a meaty question, because jazz is a nomenclature that encompasses a lot. It's a type of music. It's a cultural and historical style of music. But it's way more than that. So we're going to get to some questions about what is jazz. See if we can't get a greater understanding of the essence of jazz. I would submit to you that, let's save that, because we've got plenty of time here in the SpeakEasy. Next up on my docket, it don't mean a thing. Quoting Ella Fitzgerald. It don't mean a thing if it don't have that swing. Well, that was an era of jazz, a historical musical setting in which swing was king, and that song was sort of drawing a line in the sand between some of the 2-beat foxtrot music that was popular in the day. But jazz has certainly transcended only swing. We have many categories of jazz now that are viable, and we'll talk about those. Because if you are serious about jazz in any way, it's imperative that you familiarize yourself with the various changes and history of jazz. Jazz is not just New Orleans. Jazz has gone through many permutations. And it's important to know historically and chronologically why they're important. Okay, another topic. If you want to play jazz, what do you practice? How do you practice? What do you need to practice if you want to play jazz? Well, that is a pretty comprehensive topic, and of course there are 100 sites right now on YouTube that will tell you what you need to know to play jazz. Are they accurate? Well, from their points of view, perhaps they have an agenda for a certain type of jazz playing. But again, mechanics or magic, we'll talk about that, what to practice. Ultimately, what you need to practice is what you want to practice, what you hear and need. But we'll get there. We'll talk about that. Hearing changes. Now, there is another standardized jazz question. What are changes and how do you hear them? Is it important to hear changes? And how do you go about learning to hear changes? Well, we can talk about techniques of hearing changes, which brings me to my last two topics, which are extremely important to me. As a person that has played music my entire life, and still do, these two topics carry the greatest weight for me and my spirit, my musical energy. The first is the importance of lyric, enunciation, expression, learning a song word for word, syllable for syllable. It's extremely important, and we'll talk about why. Maybe I'll be able to, by then, link some examples and have a little fun with that. And the last topic, last but not least, is what is a motif? Now, in the coming days, I'm going to be pushing a lot of tunes, songs, maybe even some backing tracks for you, related to motifs. What is a motif? Why is a motif important? A motif is a little melodic invention. And melody and motif are what lift music beyond the realm of mere mechanics. Being able to hear melodically, be able to improvise using motifs, But we'll get there. We'll get there. There's no rush. Not here, and not at this time. We're just going to take it easy. We're in a no-stress zone here in Twain's SpeakEasy. So with that long dissertation of upcoming topics, I'm going to bid you good night. Be safe. Be well. Hopefully, we'll be able to have some interaction with the dialogues and the comments, and we can engage each other and inspire, lift our spirits. With that, I bid you adieu.